Welcome back. As Kyrgyzstan and Malaysia celebrate their respective independence days today, I sat down with the ambassador of the Kyrgyz Republic to Malaysia, His Excellency A.Anarbayev, to discuss the evolving relationship between the two nations. A.Anarbayev shared insights on diplomatic ties, economic cooperation and cultural exchanges, while also offering a glimpse into future collaborations. Let's hear more from the ambassador in this exclusive interview. Your Excellency, thank you very much for being with us on this momentous day, and I think it's an extremely important day for both our countries, Malaysia and Kyrgyzstan. And to start with our first question, how did Kyrgyzstan gain its independence, and what does this day mean to you, and what is its significance?
Hello, thank you for having me today in the studio. I think this is a very good opportunity, to talk about Kyrgyzstan and Malaysia today. Frankly speaking, we should admit that Malaysians and Kyrgyz people don't know much about our countries, unfortunately. And today it's a good opportunity, to get to know better each other, our countries, our cultures, our traditions, and the fact that we celebrate our national days on the same day, it's a very, wonderful coincidence. But I would say that that is not only the only thing that we share. We have much more in common. I am talking about, our culture, our mentality, our religion as well. As you might know, Kyrgyzstan is the majority of the population, over 90% of the population are Muslim, and this is also something that we share, and we should cherish our common values and similarities that we have. Yes, indeed, 33 years ago, actually, in 1991, Kyrgyzstan gained independence. Kyrgyzstan was part of the Soviet Union, as you might know, back then. And fortunately, this process was peaceful for us. The Soviet Union was going through, as said by that time, to be the greatest geopolitical catastrophe of the 20th century. So the collapse of the Soviet Union was, an evolution rather than a revolutionary process. But that fact doesn't make our independence any less, meaningful for our people in Kyrgyzstan. We still and we do cherish our independence, our statehood, and this is something very important for us. I would like to mention as well that this year we are celebrating 100 years since the foundation of Kara-Kyrgyz autonomous region within the Soviet Union. So that was at that time one more important step towards our statehood. And I'd say I would mention as well that more than 2,200 years ago, Kyrgyzstan also had some kind of statehood, and it was mentioned in Chinese historical archives. 10 years ago, there was a Kyrgyz empire or Kyrgyz Khanate in Central Asia. So when we celebrate our Independence Day, this is just a revival of our statehood, and we need and we do very much cherish our independence and statehood. Once again, I would repeat myself.
Right. Thanks so much for sharing that, Your Excellency. I think I really like how you mentioned about how we share mutual values and we share a lot of things between Malaysia and Kyrgyzstan. Yes. And Your Excellency, just very quickly, our Prime Minister of Malaysia recently visited Kyrgyzstan, and how do you think this enhances our diplomatic relations? And I also understand that it has been more than 30 years that we've had our diplomatic relation, and how has this bilateral relations evolved since it was first established? And are there any key milestones or achievements that you think is important to highlight?
Yeah, sure. Yes, you're right. More than 32 years ago, in 1992, Kyrgyzstan and Malaysia established diplomatic relations officially. And Malaysia actually was one of the first nations from this region recognizing our independence, and we really appreciate and value this. And since that time, for the last 32 years, our countries have been supporting each other. And I would mention, and this is very important, that our countries do not have any political disagreements. And we really do support each other. Our positions on many international issues and problems, they coincide or they are similar. So in terms of political relations, our ties, the spirit of our cooperation is very positive. And however, there were some ups and downs in terms of our relations. I mean, not in terms of the spirit, but in terms of the degree of activity and engagement. 1990s were pretty active in terms of visits exchange. The Prime Minister of Malaysia visited Kyrgyzstan twice in 1990s, and there were an official visit by our Prime Minister to Malaysia as well in the year of 2000. So more than 25 years ago, as you mentioned. And this year, I would say was really a groundbreaking year for both of our countries. This year alone, we had 6 high-level visits or events between Kyrgyzstan and Malaysia. I would mention in January, we had a working visit of our Deputy Prime Minister to Malaysia in order to discuss possible areas of cooperation in the field of education and digitalization. In February, we had first ever political consultations held in our capital, in Kyrgyzstan, in Bishkek. After that, a month later, an official visit of our foreign minister, Mr. Kulubayev, to Malaysia, to Kuala Lumpur. And then, as you mentioned, an official visit of the Prime Minister, the Right Honorable Dr. Sri Anwar Ibrahim, to Kyrgyzstan as part of his Central Asia tour. And actually, Kyrgyzstan was his first stop within that tour to the region. And after that, we had 2 more high-level visits to Malaysia to follow up on all those outcomes of the official visit. And out of all that events, of course, the official visit of Dr. Sri Anwar Ibrahim is a standout event for both of our countries in terms of our bilateral cooperation. That was some kind of starting point of reopening our cooperation, Kyrgyz bilateral ties. Our leaders in Bishkek, they signed a joint statement on comprehensive intensification of bilateral cooperation. And that this is a historical document, I would say, because as I mentioned before, that's the first high-level visit since the year 2000, so almost a quarter of a century. And that document for us is for both, I would say, of our countries. Is a roadmap for the further, intensification of the cooperation between Kyrgyzstan and Malaysia.
Right. Your Excellency, that leads me to the next question on trade and investment between Malaysia and Kyrgyzstan. I think both our countries have much to offer. What is the current state of trade and investment between Malaysia and Kyrgyzstan, and what sectors or industries that is particularly important to both these nations?
Yeah, sure. Trade and investments are, key sectors for any kind of cooperation between any nations on the international arena. And that was one of the main topics discussed in Bishkek, in Kyrgyzstan, within that official visit of the Prime Minister Anwar Ibrahim to Kyrgyzstan. I must say that unfortunately the the volume of turnover, the trade turnover, is pretty modest between our countries. So according to Malaysian data, it amounted to $35 million last year. But the trend itself is, very good. There were an increase of more than 300% comparing to the previous year. So we are pretty much, optimistic about the prospects of Kyrgyz-Malaysian trade and investments as well as, now there is a constant competition over resources on the international arena, and investments are always something that countries are, compete, for. Kyrgyzstan is very much interested in having direct foreign investments, including from Malaysia, and we have very good potential for that, and this potential is still untapped. And Kyrgyzstan and the whole region of Central Asia is booming now. In terms of economic growth, and having that booming economic growth. By the way, it's around 7% yearly for Kyrgyzstan and, for the last 3 years. For that, we really need some, foreign investments. And Kyrgyzstan might be very interesting. And we are witnessing growing interest from Malaysian businesses in investing into Kyrgyzstan economy. Some of that areas could be very interesting. First of all, of course, it's agriculture. So Kyrgyzstan is a good place for agriculture, and we need some investments for that. Mining, energy. Kyrgyzstan is one of the biggest gold exporters in the region. And now we are working with some of Malaysian private companies in order to attract them and attract Malaysian investments into Kyrgyzstan economy, and first of all in the mining sector.
Right. Your Excellency, I believe tourism is also another important aspect, in our bilateral relations between both our nations. And is there any particular initiatives that Kyrgyzstan is taking in terms of enhancing our tourism industry in both our countries?
Yeah, so tourism is something that we should both work on very actively, because Kyrgyzstan and Malaysia, both of that countries have huge potential in terms of tourism. Malaysia is a beautiful country. Kyrgyzstan is a very beautiful country. Just Google Kyrgyzstan, and you see the stunning landscapes from my country. And this potential is also still untapped. And we have all 4 seasons in Kyrgyzstan. So we are open for summer tourism, winter tourism, so ski. We have plenty of beautiful ski resorts in Kyrgyzstan, and they are very, very affordable. So please, I would encourage every Malaysian, just Google Kyrgyzstan, come to Kyrgyzstan, and you will enjoy it. I'm very much sure about that. But I would say there's one problem that we are addressing now, the problem of connectivity. Sometimes it's very hard to get to Kyrgyzstan from Malaysia, even though we enjoy visa-free regime between our countries, so we don't need any visa. Both Kyrgyzstan citizens and Malaysian citizens, no visa requirements at all. But there are no direct flights from Kuala Lumpur to Bishkek and vice versa. So we are working on that very actively. We are reaching out to local Malaysian airlines, and during the visit of Dr. Anwar Ibrahim to Kyrgyzstan, our government granted, as we call it, fifth freedom of the sky to all Malaysian airlines. That means that any Malaysian airlines could fly to Bishkek and then have another flight to any other country from Bishkek, for example, to Europe or to some other Asian countries. So that would be, that would contribute much in terms of promoting tourism, promoting economic and business ties between our countries, I believe.
Right. Your Excellency, as we look toward the future, what is your vision on Kyrgyz-Malaysia relations, and is there a message that you would like to convey to both Kyrgyz citizens and the Malaysian citizens on this shared day of independence?
Well, yes, I would like to congratulate once again both Kyrgyz people and Malaysian people on that Independence Day, the main day for both of our countries. And it's a wonderful coincidence once again that we celebrate our national days on the same day. And I would repeat once again that this is not the only thing that we share. And we should work and we should, cherish the common values that we had. And I'm very much optimistic about the prospects of Kyrgyz-Malaysian bilateral cooperation. And I believe and I hope sincerely that we will be witnessing even more active bilateral ties between our nations in years to come.
Right. Thank you very much, Your Excellency, for your excellent insights. And I think I'm personally very honored to have this opportunity to interview you. And thank you so much for joining us on this very important day. And we look forward to deepening ties and bilateral relations for both Kyrgyz and Malaysia in the future.
Thank you so much for having me.
Thank you so much.